Hello and welcome to Chapter 233 of the DC Alliance podcast. With me, as always, is Joe. Joe, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, Travis. It's been a hectic week. I mean, it's been a short week because we had over here in America we had Monday off. I think you guys
We did
had
too.
Monday off as
Yep.
well. But it was a short work week, but still felt long.
Oh, it was
Which
brutal.
tell me how that works.
I don't even know.
Yeah,
Because I felt the same thing. I think everyone in our GUA chat felt the same thing.
yeah. But no, I've been doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Not too bad, Joe. Like you said, we had the long weekend. We stayed here. We took the kid down to the park, and it was the last day of the splash pad. We had no idea he had the time of his life. So
Wow,
that was
lucky
good.
him. Yeah.
Yep, it was just lucky planning. Besides that, just taking it easy. Uh, Watching a lot of old animation lately. Not even like a series or anything. There's this guy I follow on YouTube who posts like 8 hours of cartoons when we were back in the like early to mid 90s. So
Really?
yes, no, and commercials included, which I watch because I mean
I
all
mean,
of old
90s
commercials are
commercials are
amazing. So
Huh.
yeah,
You have
it's
to
fun.
hit me up. Give
I'll
me his
send that
info.
to you. I'll send that to you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I've been watching the. I started rewatching the Defenders series because I want to watch all of
Ooh,
that
yeah.
before Daredevil comes out. Daredevil Born Again,
Hmm.
because I never finished it. Like I never watched all of season 3. I never watched the season 3 of Jessica Jones, season 2 of Punisher. So
Oh,
I want to rewatch it all. I am almost midway through season 1 of Jessica Jones. Like I already watched, and I'm watching it in order, like the
yeah,
way it came out. So I
yeah.
watched first season of Daredevil. Now with Jessica Jones, then go back to Daredevil for season 2, and then Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Defenders, and so on and so forth.
It's
Punisher's in there somewhere as well, but
Punisher's in there. I think he's
I
first in
think
Daredevil
before
season 2.
Defenders.
See,
Well,
yeah,
yeah, but
yeah.
I'll slide in where it's supposed to go. But what I'm saying is, I'm watching it the way I would have watched it before. So
Those were some good shows back
they
then
really
too.
were.
Oh man, and
Then
some
again,
better than others. Some better than
looking,
others. Shout out Meachums, you were terrible. Uh,
I will say, like, I'm okay with Iron Fist. I know not a lot of people are.
I didn't complain about some of Iron Fist. I
Oh yeah.
complained about Meachums, which again, I oh my god, oh. I'm still so curious about like those characters if they're going to come back, if Iron Fist will
I
come back,
mean,
or if they're going to jettison him and bring somebody else in. Dude, what a bad break that would be for that actor. Feel like Henry Cavill.
oof.
Which is a good segue, Joe, as it's so weird this week. Marvel Alliance is off because they don't have a lot of news and the holiday, and we have so much news we couldn't take the night off.
Woo!
So before we talk about all this news, let me get the network plugs out of the way. We are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance with 7 shows in total. On Mondays, bi-weekly, it's Ranger Alliance. On Tuesdays is a walk through the multiverse. On Wednesdays is the Animation Nation. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance. On Saturdays is DC Alliance. And Sundays monthly is World's Finest True Believers. Star Wars Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Marvel Alliance goes live Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And DC Alliance goes live 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Fridays. All 3 of those shows also have their own podcast feeds. Search DC Alliance, Marvel Alliance, or Star Wars Alliance if you just want DC content, Marvel content, or Star Wars content only. But if you want all 7 shows on the GUA Podcast Network, say subscribe to the GUA on your podcast app of choice. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, a $1 tier and a $5 tier. The $1 tier is basically a tip jar, like we're doing. You want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras. You get your ad-free episodes, early access to episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. Myself and Joe are going through all DC film through the years. Our entry for August was Stardust. Our entry for September will be The Dark Knight. We have over 25 pieces of content up there now. A couple have been released to on the DC Alliance feed when we haven't had much content, but I think only 4 of the 25. So still a lot of Patreon exclusive content there. We also had the Marvel Alliance guys, Chris and Brent, doing their tales from the House of X, talking about their favorite Fox Marvel films. They did a couple Deadpools, Wolverine, Logan, and now the most recent one was the first X-Men from Fox. So check that out. They're going through all their favorites. They also had their Infinity Saga rewatch up on the backlog of content for the patrons. And we also have Joe's show, Multiverse Minutes, where Joe takes a look, Disney deep dives right now, where he's taking a look at a Disney film not only giving you a review, but giving you some fun behind the scenes facts about the film as well. Joe, what's on deck for that?
Yeah, coming up next in a couple days, actually, will be So Dear to My Heart, or So Dear to the Heart. I can't remember. It's a live action animation combination. So it's
Okay.
it's part of like what you would consider. It's still part of the studios, but it was more live action than animation. And it it's not on Disney Plus, so I actually have to go and track this one down. But it should be interesting. Look forward to seeing it.
Nice. I love those. Like I used to love those growing up. Roger Rabbit was one. Like the
Who Framed
animation and
Roger
live.
Rabbit was a
Yeah, Who
great
Framed?
one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like live action. I love those. Those used to be like blow my mind as a kid. Seeing those, I'm like, wait a second. Hey, Iggy.
yeah. What's going on, Iggy?
Uh,
Yeah, like
yeah.
those have been some interesting ones that I've seen, and I mean, it's only been a handful at the moment, but they've had like little segments here and there, and the where it started, where they had the combination of live action and animation, to the progression is kind of what the whole point of the multiverse minutes Disney dives is to see how the animation has progressed through the years. So it's really cool, really neat how it's all working out.
And you know me, Joe, big fan of animation, and I love like even the old school animation. Like if done
Oh, it
well,
still sticks up. Yeah,
still holds up really well.
yeah.
So we thank everyone that's a patron. If you're not a patron, if you can take a quick 30 to 60 seconds, rate and view the podcast on your podcast app of choice. It's always greatly appreciated. It helps other people find the shows, and that's always a good thing. Okay, Joe. Uh, we need to get into the news.
Before we get there, though, I want to put this up here that Iggy just asked. What about Chris Evans as Deathstroke for the DCU? Interesting choice.
I'm gonna say I don't think we need that hot, like that famous of an actor to play Deathstroke. Like I'm not
The
even gonna
man's
say
already done 8 different comic book properties. He doesn't need this.
go look at Titans, for example. That's a perfect kind of actor to play Deathstroke, and he was fantastic. The show, not so much, but everything, basically almost everything Deathstroke in that second season was fantastic, and he was a great actor. So, like something like that, Iggy, I go with instead of bringing in the heavy hitter. It all depends on what you want to do. If you want Deathstroke to star in his own film, maybe yes, but if you want him to be like a villain adversary for the Titans or some other character, maybe you don't need to go as big as Chris Evans.
Well, here's another big thing. And yes, I agree. Chris Evans probably isn't the right choice at the time,
Mm-hmm.
at this time. But if you try to get a younger-ish, like say 30s, 40s actor for Deathstroke, you could, in theory, take like similar to what Deathstroke is in My Adventures with Superman, where he's a young, like ego-driven guy that could do something different.
That could be a way to go. Like I said, I enjoy him in My Adventure with Superman, so I didn't even think about
Yes,
that as a way to go with it too, Joe. That's
because I mean every other iteration we've had outside of animation has been an older slate.
yeah.
So if you go a
But
little bit younger,
we haven't gotten any live act. Well, besides TV, no movie. I don't want to discredit TV, but
we had a movie slate.
Oh,
He was on 2 different movies, so
I'm
technically we had a movie slate.
you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Uh, so thank you, Iggy, for that question. I do want to see Deathstroke in the DCU though, sooner rather than later. So
Yes, 100%.
Alberto Gonzalez has been dropping some Deathstroke pictures, so I don't know if that's someone that he thinks he knows is going to be casted. But we have a lot of DCU rumors, Joe, and our main one for the first topic tonight is Josh Brolin has apparently been offered the role of Hal Jordan for DCU's Lanterns. It's uncertain whether he's going to accept or not. James Gunn has not come out and squashed this, which makes me think that this is correct. And also, Nexus Point News has been right a lot of the times lately. I will give them credit; they're usually good a couple days before something gets announced. They're usually pretty good with it.
Roland's a great actor too. Like him being offered the role, especially if the role is, if I remember correctly, reading in one of the articles that were shared, Hal would be more of a mentor figure to like John and Guy. Look, it's been a long game. It's been a long time since I've seen Jonah Hex. We're gonna watch it for our Patreon eventually. I'll also watch it for Rundown reviews over in Comic Rundown. I remember enjoying that movie. Now it's been years. I only saw it the one time.
And how apropos would it be if he redeemed himself playing the character that Ryan Reynolds played, especially when he said
I
the things he
mean,
said at some of those press tours would be hilarious. I love that. I see some people freaking out. I replied to somebody who was freaking out about his age, and I'm like, Nathan Fillion's 53, dude. He's just 3 years younger than Brolin. So, like, if you're gonna get outraged, like, hold your selective outrage, because everyone seems to be fine for Nathan Fillion being Guy Gardner. I haven't seen much complaints about that.
yeah.
So let's give Brolin a chance. I do
Well,
think is rather old, especially if you want to keep him like that makes me think he might go the way of Parallax or be a villain sometime.
That's what I was going to bring up. Like, do we get Parallax in this? Do we get him as Spectre down the road? But if we do that, then we get him coming back as Hal back at a younger age. So you have that problem where if you have an older actor, you're definitely not going to be going, that full route of bringing him back after Spectre. Now, that being said, him being Spectre would be kind of great too.
Buster Barnes has a great point here. Hal's age doesn't bother me much, as it seems likely that Jon Stewart will be the main
100%.
JL Green Lantern, and I'm all for that. Buster Barnes, like, I love that. That's the first interpretation that I really latched onto with the Justice League Unlimited
that's
animated
the first
series.
one a lot of people grew up with. When I started reading comics, it was the death of Superman. So my introduction to Green Lantern was Hal. But I never really had Hal. Hal was never really my Lantern, because shortly after that, Kyle came into play. And then I started watching the animated series, and then Jon Stewart was there. So yeah, like having one of the things, having all of these characters that you could pull from, and all of them have their own representation, is amazing. But yes, I definitely think that Jon Stewart would be the one that the general audience would latch onto, that the fans would latch onto. It sounds like we're gonna be getting a Hal. We already got Guy.
We're getting a Hal and John. That's the Lanterns.
Yeah, we're getting John this
Lanterns
too.
Yeah,
and it's one of those things where, I mean, we'll see. I'm looking forward to whatever happens. But yeah, I definitely think John will be the main, and then we'll get like Kyle, we'll get Simon, we'll get Jessica, we'll get all of them at some point.
Yes, I don't know who this person is. Aaron Fleischer saying that DCU is being MCU. We haven't seen anything. We haven't seen anything from the DCU yet. So
no, I think what they're referring to though is all of the MCU characters are coming over to DCU.
Oh my! That's as long as you. It all depends on the character that you pick for them. It's not like I'm going to look at. I watched Parks and Rec, for example. I don't see Star-Lord. I see the character that most of Chris Pine's things. Like, I watch him, I don't see Star-Lord unless he is playing Star-Lord. So some people might have that problem, but thankfully, myself is not one of them in that side of things.
Yeah.
And again, if he does not accept it, we've had an update from Nexus Point News that Chris Pine and Timothy Oliphant are on the short list for Hal Jordan, with Pine being the next choice if Brolin declines. I think I would like to see Pine more than any other person that they could cast. I think he's actually perfect for it. I thought he was perfect for it since I saw him play Kirk in the first Star Trek film that he played. I thought he would be a perfect Hal Jordan, and I haven't thought anything less since I've seen him besides that. But he's not big into being in superhero franchises from what I've read.
Well, I mean, we had him as Steve Trevor for 2 movies. So like, yeah. I mean, he's not opposed to it. But I also don't know if I'd want well, again, he was Jonah Hex to Thanos to Cable.
Yeah,
and to Hal Jordan.
Out the game, I think he's already redeemed himself with Thanos, right?
Yeah. But yeah, like, because he was Steve Trevor in Wonder Woman. I love Chris Pine. Like, he's a great actor. But I think it might be, I don't want to say too confusing, but it might be problematic.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying there. It's same problem I have with like Peacemaker and that part still being the
Correct. Like it's
same
just
when
going
you're
to
starting
confuse.
over.
Like we've already talked about how they need to stop it all. It's just going to get confusing.
Yeah, and that's what Alan the Game said too. Pine is tied to Wonder Woman as Trevor
Exactly.
now. Yeah, and if you reboot Wonder Woman, and even if you don't reboot, you have to reboot. It's
You have
just
to reboot Wonder Woman. Like
yeah,
you're rebooting everything, except for Peacemaker apparently.
yeah.
But like you have to reboot everything.
So yeah, I'm excited to see who even Timothy Oliphant. I love Justified. Watch every
Dude,
season
Timothy
of that.
Oliphant's great. Him,
Like
I could see him being a good Hal. So like, yeah, because
and
there was a couple other ones as well, wasn't
yeah,
there?
there was a couple other choices from the Insider. Hold on. If Josh Brolin declines, he said Matthew McConaughey and Ewan McGregor are in
I mean,
consideration for role. I don't think he's telling the truth there. I think that's a bit of
all
gibberish.
of
Oh.
all right.
Mhm. Yes, on the game, he was
I
Oliphant was originally in the running to be Iron Man too. I
did
did.
not know that.
He did a interview saying that he like actually tests for it too. Uh,
Nice.
John Krasinski was in the running for uh, Captain America, I think. Like had a test for that too.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. There's some cool what if MCU castings that.
That's amazing.
So yeah, we got a little bit. There was a big load of jokes, Joe, about the casting with the age. There were some really funny ones. Michael Caine has been reportedly offered the role of Wally West for Teen Titans.
I did see that one. That one was great.
The best one I think was Al Pacino has been cast as Damian Wayne in Batman: The Brave and the Bold.
I love it.
Oh,
I love it.
uh, Buster Barnes says, "To be honest, I think Brolin is still my choice out of the rumored selection, which might be too." No, actually, I do think if
It's not.
Brolin is the choice, he can pull it off.
Yeah, it's not
100.
controversial at all.
No,
And
he's
then
a
as
good
for Iggy,
actor.
yeah, as for Iggy, yeah, I don't. I mean, you can kind of hear it, the Justice League song, but nah,
No,
they'll get the original. They'll get
give me an
something
original. No
nice.
different than in Superman. I don't. I might be in the minority here, but I don't need to hear the John Williams score. Maybe you can put it in a tiny bit into your new thing,
Yeah,
but I'd like to
you
hear something.
sprinkle in a little bit.
Yeah, but I'd like to hear something new for this
Well,
Superman. To
because
be honest.
even when we're watching Smallville for our
Yeah,
retro rewatches, you still hear those just
we'll hear.
hints of it throughout.
And I could throw up when I saw Cavill's Superman show up with that John Williams theme. I'm like, why would you keep the theme with this? Whatever,
Anyway,
whatever. Common sense is sometimes out the window when it comes to The Rock. Uh, so
yeah,
let's take our first ad break of the evening, Joe. Listeners, we're an ad-supported network. We don't pick the ad or the volume. I'm going to do a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe. We got a little bit of news on Superman and Lanterns from uh, Daniel RPK. And let me read through this now. He said, I've also heard that the new Superman movie is fantastic and they're going all out. It's complete shift to hardcore sci-fi and fantasy. I have to laugh at that so much. The exact opposite of Man of Steel. You didn't watch the first half hour of
oh,
that movie or
screw
any
you,
other.
dude. Come on.
It's set in a world very different from ours and far removed from the DCEU. Heroes have been around for ages. That's very interesting to me. And we'll see how it affected this world's history and has shaped the DCU. The DCU will feature various projects set across different timelines, not just present day, so more in line with the approach of Star Wars than Marvel. And he said, "Here's what I've heard regarding Green Lanterns. I've heard that they're eyeing Josh Brolin because their vision for Hal Jordan is to have him as an older, gruff, no nonsense mentor to a younger and a reckless John Stewart. And as we know, Brolin excels at playing the grumpy type. The series is set to start filming next year with the story that follows Hal and John as they investigate a twisted and bizarre murder mystery on Earth, uncovering a conspiracy that will impact the entire DCU, according to Production Grid."
That's
So
pretty
yeah,
cool.
that is
The comment about heroes being around for some time, that just it sounds like JSA was in play, back
yeah.
in the 40s, 50s, 60s. So that's good. I like that.
It sounds like Maxwell Lord's trying to create that
a
thing
new
anew, but
justice
under
something.
his stewardship, I'll
Yep.
say, is the best way to say that. I just want to say, I'm not going to harp on this very long, but to sit there and not say that Man of Steel wasn't fantastical and sci-fi is just absolutely like bonkers to me. You can complain about Superman snapping people's necks into violence all you want. That is completely fine. But for the love of God, Russell Crowe was flying on a giant alien monster in the first 30 minutes of this film, getting a codex and a giant space battle, and in the end they flew up to this other giant spaceship and into the Phantom Zone in giant frozen dicks. So
Yeah,
I
there's
mean, like,
spaceships all over this movie. Like
it
I don't know
that's
where
just
he's coming from
backwards.
on this one.
Like, I'm like, you did not watch the whole movie or even the 30 minutes, because that's a completely different movie than the rest of the movie. It's like that's full
Yeah,
on sci-fi fantasy. The other rest of the stuff is fantasy set in on Earth, but this other stuff is on a completely different planet for like a half hour.
yeah, I
So
don't
yeah,
know.
that was really backers. But I'm still really excited for Superman, of course. And I just don't know when we're going to get promotion for this. Like we're now what 10 months out, 9 months out, 9 months out from Superman. June
Yes,
of
math.
2025. So yeah, 3 months after
June.
12.
That's off July.
Okay, yeah, so 10 months away. So
Yeah, July 11th. Because remember
I wonder
we were talking about like all the movies that are coming out in July.
yeah, we got the Jurassic before and Fantastic after.
Yeah,
So quite
Jurassic
the
Fantastic.
quite the big mishmash there, Joe.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I'm excited for this stuff. I really like Lanterns for the people they have on it behind the scenes, and I'm sure they'll cast great people, because you have like those people working on it. You're like, okay, yeah, I want to join this as an actor. So I don't think they're going to have a problem. I really do think it'll be a big fu to Ron Reynolds, as he's able to pull out like a fun fu, like not a like they have a
yeah.
lot of good banter back and forth. So just like a good thing he'll be able to use down the line. Yes,
We'll get there.
we'll get
Yep.
there. So we have some other DCU news, and Gunn is full on talking about Creature Commandos now. We got some fun quotes here. And the first one is he's talking about it, talking about Creature Commando as a whole. The thing I've always loved about DC Comics was that you had your mainstream comics that always ran, but you had also these tonally different comics like Watchmen and The Dark Knight Returns and All Star Superman. Gunn tells Entertainment Weekly it was different from Marvel in that way. That's something that I really want to retain with the studio, that every project is going to bring a different vision by the artists who are creating it. And there's some pictures here as well, which this picture of GI Robot seems to tie in with another DCU project that we'll talk about in a second, which Gunn seems to confirm as well. Uh, he also said, I'm used to dealing with oddballs and regular types and weirdos. That's what the Guardians is, and Creature Commandos is kind of like Guardians without the sentimentality. The Guardians are all really good characters at their heart, and that just isn't necessarily the case with these creatures.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun project. I'm looking forward to seeing this, because it's look what he did with Guardians. Like he took these characters, like you just said, oddball characters. He took characters that nobody, I'm not gonna say didn't care about, but wasn't top priority. And I mean that was one of the benefits of the MCU, and also kind of all they had because they had sold off their big boys. But they made these characters into household names.
He did.
And I'm not saying he'll be able to do that with Creature Commandos, but I definitely think there's going to be some standouts in there.
I thought he nailed it with Suicide Squad.
Exactly.
So I don't have any doubt he's going to nail it here.
Having an ensemble cast like Guardians, like Suicide Squad, benefits. So I mean, not saying that one is going to stick out more than the other, but we haven't seen the show. We have no idea how it's going to be. So maybe one will stand out over the rest.
On the game mentioned earlier that first trailer usually releases 6 to 7 months out. So probably closer to Super Bowl on the game. And
Yeah,
Buster
Super Bowl
Barnes said,
makes
I
sense.
think it'll be a fun and a nice taster for us DC fans before Superman. And there is a quote that'll back you up there, sir, in a second. they also talk about Gunn also talks about the Frankenstein character, and he's like, part of the fun for me was taking on some of the basics of Mary Shelley's story and bringing them into this story about the sperm relationship between the bride and the Frankenstein. Frankenstein is this incredibly well-spoken intellectual, but is still driven by his rage and his anger and his inability to be a human being, and the inability for that for the one that he loves not loving him back. That's what drives him. So yeah, he's basically talking about most of these characters. Then he says there's an innocence to GI Robot that I didn't quite see until his brother stepped into the booth and started creating this character. His choices for GI Robot give the character this sweet mechanic innocence. He's got a very sad history from World War II. The only time I think he's felt at home was with the soldiers that he served with in the DC's alternate history of World War II, where metahumans were involved. And Gunn also said, Superman is the true start of everything. It's a homogenous epic. This is a way for people to just take a little nibble and see what it tastes like. There's a ton of fun references to other DC stuff, a bunch of hints for things that are coming. So I think it's extraordinarily fun way to start. And it says Creature Commandos premieres December 5th on Max.
Oh man, I can't wait to start dissecting that then.
That got me pumped, to be honest with you, especially that last little sentence. And it backs up, like I was talking about, what Buster Barnes said. It's going to be fun, little nice taste for us DC fans, but also the little last line there is going to be little hints of things to come.
Yeah.
That got me perked up. That's the kind of stuff that you actually get those heavy spoilers, real new, like those actual breakdown videos after. That's the kind of stuff that gets that. So.
Yeah.
And that's very helpful for people when they're putting together show notes for episodes and things. It's really helpful as someone who puts together notes. It's quite helpful at times. So, yeah, I'm all for that. What if Deathstroke showed up? It's Chris Evans. I'll say, yeah, you were right. And on the game says oddball characters are what he does best, which is what makes him doing Superman interesting, as it's a bit of a departure for him in that sense. But I do think he's bringing it back a little bit on the game with bringing all these extra characters in. I do think like the Guy Gardners, the Hot Girls of it all, even them are still a little obscure for DC because you obviously go Hal John for Lanterns right away. Even some people like Brent would go Kyle. So Buster Brown says, wondering if we'll get any crazy castings via Creature Commandos with some voicing a big character. That is a possibility as well. I hope they don't spoil that with the pre-episode. Hope they leave it for at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
You need to see a special guest voice actor.
They've definitely done better about that, especially with animation lately, where they don't say the actors in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's just title card into the show.
And that's one thing I'm really excited about. And I've said it on here before, Buster Barnes, is that carrying it to live action, like the characters, we could see any of these Creature Commandos show up. We are seeing Rick Flag Sr. Show up in Peacemaker, but we could see any of these other characters show up. We could see Waller come to use them against the JLA down the line. There's so many potential things that just get me excited because you're valuing animation, which I'm all for.
Yeah. Agreed.
And finally, Joe, before we take our next break, Luca.
Yep. I'm Italian. I don't even know how to say that word.
Gudiano.
Yeah.
Is set to direct Sergeant Rock at DC Studios with Justin Kuritz penning the script. And Gunn basically kind of confirmed this. Yes and no. He confirmed that the picture that I was talking about was GI Robot with first image of Rick Flag, Frankenstein, and Dr. Sher Covetee's second image, Dr. Third image, GI Robot enjoys a mug with his boys from Easy Company. So those are the ones from Sergeant Rock. And so he doesn't confirm that this is true, but he didn't deny it. And Nexus Point News is confirming that this is another property that is going to be in production for DC.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited. Again, give me all the content that we can possibly get. That'll never be a complaint for me. If it's not good content, I'll move on.
Guadagnino. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Barnes.
you. Thank you.
Like I
That
said, I'm Italian and I can't pronounce it.
And
That's
I
a
butchered.
fault on my own.
I butchered that. Joe, let's take our second ad break of the evening. Listeners, we're an ad-supported network. We're going to pick the ad volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe, we got a trailer to talk about. We have a final Penguin trailer.
I don't think I watched this.
I haven't watched this yet either. Okay, let's go. Mute this, share my screen.
So while you're getting that up, Buster Barnes says Sergeant Rock could actually be really cool. GI Robot would probably be in it, and maybe we get a JSA or Wonder Woman appearance. Like that, yeah. Like especially if they're saying that this stuff, superheroes have been in this world for some time. JSA, Wonder Woman makes sense. GI Robot in Sergeant Rock makes sense. Obviously, we're getting that because that's what was kind of revealed there. But yeah, like.
I'm all for it. Like I said, you can easily do Vandal Savage could be in that in World War II
throughout the whole thing. Yeah, like that's a guy who doesn't die. He's always around.
And that could be the person that who knows, that could be the big bad for the first chapter of that could be what Hal and John find on Earth, that potentially.
Yeah.
But
we'll get back to that in all the game. We'll after the trailer we'll get back to your question.
I'm hyped for this. We have Penguin.
Who's that guy?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
Who's that guy?
This Penguin.
Who's that guy?
This Penguin. Same person.
Oh, okay. Different suit.
A HBO limited series. I love that they put this in there. So yeah, he's basically seeing the white suit. Yes. Just love it. So Kingpin like.
Right?
He's such a mama's boy too, Joe. It's hilarious.
Nothing wrong with that.
I love how he's teaming up with Sophia Falcone too. That is something.
Okay, there he is. Well, but I mean, is he though?
Yeah.
Like I know we're kind of seeing that, but maybe they're teaming up to then work against each other. Who knows?
They might. Maybe one of them might try to double cross the other.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, guarantee they're going to try.
I'm still so shocked that he is actually Colin Farrell. Like, and I can't wait to see. Like,
that comes out in like 2 weeks.
The ramifications. Okay. The ramifications for this in the Batman world.
I might need to rewatch the Batman here.
I am. I'm going to rewatch it too.
All right. So All in the Game asked, was there any particular reason why they basically did Watchmen again, but this time as animation, and did it get any views? I know, Travis, you watched it. I still haven't yet.
I watched it on the game, and it was quite a bit of waste of time. The only good thing was the animation style. Like, it was probably one of the better 3D animation styles I've seen. Like, it's better than Superman, Batman, Battle of the Super Sons. And I love that, too.
Oh, I like that.
No, I'm not saying the actual story or the movie.
Yeah, no, the animation. I like that.
It's like an extra step up from that. Just for it really works with the Watchmen world and the comic and all that. Like, just bringing it to life. It really works with that. But my God, if you've read the comic, if you've consumed any media besides the
movie, TV show,
even the TV show, even the movie is 2/3 of it is exactly the same. So it's only the ending that's changed, really. So I if you haven't watched it on the game, I wouldn't watch it. Just a recommendation. I just listened to a review that might come out for that. Down the line.
Might. Are you saying what's coming out one day? Is that what you're saying?
Nope, not this week.
Okay.
We're finishing off Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. We got the final 3 episodes.
Perfect. All right.
So yeah, Penguin trailer, all for it. We did get the extra episodes. I don't think I added that to the show notes, but I have it right here, the DC Alliance.
Oh, the time.
So the the final 4 episodes, 54 minutes, 52 minutes, 46 minutes, and an hour and 8 minutes.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I could not stand about Disney Plus shows. So it's like 35 minutes, 32 minutes, 43 minutes. Like, it was all over the place. I do like the late.
But the story they told for those episodes, yes, I would have liked it to be a little bit longer.
Lately, but I found like Captain America Falcon and Winter Soldier story was basically, it felt to me like a film that was chopped up into spots for
I'm pretty sure that one actually was.
Yeah, so that's what, like, that I'm glad anyway.
That's fair. Okay.
So we have some quotes from Matt Reeves and others on this, talking about the Batman epic crime saga. What was important to me was finding a way to take these pop icons, these mythic characters that everybody knows, and translate it so it feels like Gotham's place in our world. We might push to the edge of fantastical, but we would never go into full fantastical. It's meant to feel quite grounded.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's not a shock to anybody. That's why I did see some people quote tweeting that and complaining and saying, like, I can't wait for the next actor to come in and be like, I want to do Poison Ivy, Clayface, and Man Bat. And we all want to see those, but guess what? We do have a second Batman coming around in the DCU. So, like, let's not rule out seeing some of that fantastical there.
I definitely want the fantastical to happen, but I think it fit better in
DCU.
Gunn's universe. Yeah.
Same, 100%.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's the one again. He also says, talks about the first details about the Batman 2. It's going to dig into the epic story about deeper. Well, stop saying epic story. Deeper
epic story.
And it goes into places he couldn't even anticipate in the first one.
It's like it's an epic crime saga.
It's like I can tell what that could be. A lot of people saying too, Court of Owls.
I mean, look, you can get. I would love for Court of Owls to show up in the live action, and it would work in Reeves's universe
much better. Yeah,
100%.
Well, minus talents.
No, you keep the talents in there.
No, I'm just saying the way that they actually are. That's fantastical over the edge of fantastical.
You could have, like, people are working on bringing people back from the dead. It's fine. And actually, they're not even bringing them back from the dead. They don't die. They like freeze them almost, or like cryogenically freeze them of sorts. So
Disney style,
kinda, yeah. Just unfreeze his head from time to time. Yeah, like that could work in theory. That could work. And then have him come back and be Talons and just hang out there. Let's see what Buster said there. Yeah, people hating on these comments really confused me. Did they not watch the first movie? Well, we were never going to get Blob, Monster, Clayface in this universe. Now, no, correct. We're not.
No, we're getting one way closer to Batman Cape Crusader if we are getting.
Professor Pig would be a good, not fantastical villain.
Yeah, even one that he takes down, like in the opening part of the film too. Like you could have him as the secondary villain or the third villain. And as for the Clayface thing, like I said, we would get a lot closer to Batman Cape Crusader if it was in Matt Reeves.
Yeah,
because Matt Reeves even worked on Batman Cape Crusader, so he's part of the EP on that. So yeah, I would love to see Clayface, but I'm holding it all for hopefully James Gunn because that universe is going to lean way more into that element.
Clayface and Mad Hatter are the two I've been lobbying for a while now, and they're probably going to happen in James Gunn. Oh, at least
thing about Clayface is he works in the fantastical world, like even in Justice, like he's one of the very few villains that makes sense that could fight and hurt some of these fantastical superheroes, like compared to like Joker or Penguin or Riddler, like riddle me this, like that compared to Clayface. I'm just talking compared to Clayface, he's much more menacing to a Wonder Woman or a Green Lantern than Riddler or Two-Face or.
It varies. I don't know. It varies.
I'd say power people.
It depends. Well, the current iteration of Clayface, sure. But the problem is the current iteration of Clayface has also been more of a vigilante and an anti-hero than a villain. Now, if you're going...
It turned him into Venom.
If you're going... Well, kind of, sort of. That happened with DC Rebirth. He became... When Batman formed the team... It had Clayface, Robin, Spoiler, big Batgirl. Like it had a handful of characters, and Clayface was a good guy for a while.
They did that element in the Batman too. I think Clayface was like a detective. Like he got turned
He
into
was a detective
Clayface
first, and then
by like
eventually, yeah.
Joker, maybe.
I don't remember.
It's been a long time since I watched. That was a really good animated series. That was like 2004, I think.
Dude, I love that. Like, it's
Yeah.
one I got on DVD when they came out. I think I also have it on Blu-ray as well now.
On the game says, in an ideal world, Gunn would prefer not to to launch his own Batman with another live action Batman. Yes, we've talked about that multiple times on here on the game. Everything is saying that's kumbaya, but I can't imagine that things will be great. Especially DC is owned by a complete idiot moron right now. Like
Let's
moron
talk
as
about that too.
CEO, not owned because it's shareholder, but the CEO. The person that runs the company is a complete idiot, if I'm being honest with you. Like he literally gave up basketball and then called the basketball people in the show he had and said, "Guys, we're still going to keep you, and you're going to do the show after." And the guy's like, "What are we going to do?" He's like, "We'll figure that out down the line." Instead of like
Not how that works.
just crazy stuff. So yeah, I have no confidence that if Superman makes 550 million and the Batman Part 2 makes $1 billion, that Zaslav will be like, maybe we should get this guy to run everything instead of the guy over here. Like I don't want that to happen. I want to see the full chapter 1 of the DCU in all its glory. I'm already pissed off about what happened with DCEU and
Yeah.
chopping legs out from under that. So I want to see something. And Buster Barnes asks us, do you guys think they should keep Margot Robbie's Harley in the DCU or recast as Joker will be recast?
Recaster.
Recast. We want to recast the
We
whole possible.
we love Margot. Like
Yeah.
she did a wonderful job. You like Travis just said, everybody needs to be recast. We have been very vocal of we're not on board. We love Peacemaker, but we're not on board that they're not recasting all them.
No.
You need to recast everybody.
Yeah, complete, wipe the slate clean. And I love Peacemaker season 1. I get up and sing and dance to the theme song right now. It's awesome. And I love John Cena. John Cena, even as a person, is a fantastic human being. So it would suck for him to lose character,
Yeah.
but you could also get in as another character. He's not against that either. So I just, again, would have liked a clean slate for everything if you're going to do that, instead of just bringing a couple DC characters into the DCU, confusing people, more than likely confusing some. Not all.
I mean, oddly, even us as fans who understand these timelines and understand these universes, we're going to be confused. Let's be honest.
Well, we're going to be looking for an explanation. Like, we're going to watch it from the first episode.
And we're going to get confused why there's nothing there.
Instead of being like, let's see what season 2 got, and be like, how are they going to explain this? That's my first thought going into it. So, yeah, I would like for a full-on recast, Buster, but we're not getting that. So, I'd be okay with to see her come around again. Okay, so the Joker, there's a rumor that Joker 2 is going to move up its IMAX release. Oh, I jumped the gun. Sorry. One other thing about the Penguin series. The producer Dylan Clark says you don't need to watch the Batman to enjoy the Penguin series. Joe,
you just not get my joke.
Matt's world, and I love this phraseology, is that the movie vibrates against the show and the show vibrates against the movie.
I vibrate against my pants. I need to watch. Sorry.
They inform each other. You don't need to watch the movie in order to enjoy the show. I think it just enriches it. They are connected. Okay.
Good. And that's kind of what we wanted. Like we talked about that last week. The shows need to stay by themselves. It doesn't need to be coming in. The movie, sorry, to stay by itself doesn't need to be incorporated into the show outside of it's in the same world, right? But Agreed. The show can enhance the second movie. Yeah, I saw that.
Joker 2, there's a rumor that Joker 2 is going to move up its IMAX release by 4 days. The film releases on IMAX on September 30th and will also release in 50 to 70 millimeter film format at 11 locations. So
I mean, that's cool. I'll still wait until
4-day early exclusive is what it's saying there. And it's projected. The projections is really good for Joker 2 right now. The long range tracking is open up at 115 to 145 million domestically.
Nice.
And if this track holds true, the sequel will outperform 2019's Joker, which opened at 96.2 million. And
Very nice.
I don't know if right now, currently, this is the right score, but as of September 4th, so a couple days ago, it was rated at 60% on Rotten Tomatoes and fresh. So apparently, fresh is 60% now.
I don't follow Rotten Tomatoes. I
Not at
haven't
all. Not
for
at all.
ever.
Don't care. I think it was the other one was a little bit like that too, wasn't it? It was paying.
Again, I
Yeah.
don't follow Rotten
No,
Tomatoes. I don't
I
know.
don't follow Rotten Tomatoes, but you have some of the uh, reviewers sharing
Oh,
articles.
previous. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
like the last one, I thought they were saying like this is a movie people shouldn't be going watching. There's going to be someone shooting up the movie.
Yeah.
I did see that from a lot of people reviewing. So yeah, I'm excited. We'll see how this goes. Joe, let's take our final ad break of the evening. Listeners, we're an ad support network. We don't pick the ad or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back.
So Iggy asked Mahershala. Thank you. Sorry. Ollie asked John Jones. Great casting. He is literally too old. I'm sorry. I think he's just as old as Brolin.
I would be still okay with that, but I think that he has a
Not
lot
if you want
he has a lot
long
of time.
continuing series.
Well, he's already trying to be a character for a long continuing series.
Exactly. And look how that's going.
He's kind of busy at the moment. I think there's a lot of other good possibilities.
Actually,
for John Jones.
Just watched the Alita Battle Angel today again. It's been a while since I've seen it, and he's in that, and he did a really good job in that.
Okay.
So, anyway,
but I would love him as cast. I just don't think.
Oh yeah, it's not gonna happen. I don't think that one's gonna happen.
So we get our first look at Harvey Dent, Harry Lotley as Harvey Dent in Joker 2, and all I gotta say is he looks 12 years old.
Yeah, it looks like
he looks 12. Like I would ID him for buying a beer.
You know, this also looks like
19.
Yeah, well, 21 here in America.
Yeah, 19 here.
Oh, well.
Beer.
Anyway.
Beer.
It also looks like he is about ready to not get John F. Kennedy's head down in the motorcade fast enough. Like he looks like he's a guy from the 60s.
Good. I can't wait to see him. I'm really excited. This is going to be a unique Harvey Dent performance, I think. So I'm very interested to see what they're going to do with him. Just another piece of Batman lore that I don't know if they're going to use it anywhere near what people expect.
Look, as long as we don't get, I mean, if he changes into Two-Face, great. I don't want it to be a
that's not going to be
Billy D. Williams in the first one, the first Batman, and not be able to become Two-Face.
There you go. That's the reason why. Yes, Buster Barron says, I was wondering why he's so young, but guessing that's because he would be close friends with Bruce. He'd be close to Bruce's age as they would become friends as Bruce is still a kid. Bruce is like 16, isn't he? I think.
Bruce like 10 in Joker?
Yeah, I think this is a few years after that, maybe.
Okay.
He says, unless they make him Two-Face in the film, then my point is irrelevant. And they could make him a different version of that too, Buster Barnes. They could be like, he's just like working both sides. Like he's like corrupt. That could be like the two faces of him. Like they might not even do it the way like we think of half his face is like acid it off or whatever. They might not do it that way either. So I can't.
I like that because
anything with Joker, you can't.
If you think about it, Arthur Fleck has not had his face like been bleached, so he's put makeup on.
Yep.
Versus Joker in the comics and the shows and the movies where he becomes Joker. Like that's his thing. So having Harvey playing both sides, I like that.
And you could have like had they expose him in the trial, like in the big final trial thing. So he's
being Two-Face. Yeah,
but again, nobody write down any of these because you can't predict Joker. You can't predict Joker. It's just
TM. If Travis says it, we called it on the show.
So we had just. I wanted to put this in just because it's basically
I saw who the source was, and I'm like, how the hell?
I just wanted to put it in as a let's come back to this, as I
Uh-huh.
don't think she knows anything. I don't think Gunn's letting anything slip out for her. Grace Randolph said that Nicholas Hoult shot a scene as Lex Luthor for Peacemaker. I think that's the biggest crack of crap ever. Just want that on record so that we can come back to this and laugh at Grace Randolph, as I'm blocked by her when I replied to one of her nonsense rumors and said, "You are a leech on the entertainment industry." Uh, I don't really go at a lot of people. This was like 2 or 3 years ago too, but yeah, I just couldn't stand it, and she's gotten progressively worse. I think it was the whole like Kathy Ann, like statue with a dick stuff that she was talking about. So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, or it could have been her hate on Jessica Chastain for no reason. So one of those two. But I did reply that to her, and she blocked me, which is her right. But I don't have to see her weird tweets anymore unless they get screenshotted, shared in our GUI chat.
Yeah, exactly.
Like right back. So Chris, a good thing here. Super/Man, the Christopher Reeve story has officially won the 2024 Hamptons Film Festival Film Summer Docuseries Audience Award, and
Awesome.
a lot of the award people who've films who've won this award, documentaries, have gone on to win the Academy Award for Best Documentary Feature Film.
Okay.
I'm really excited to see this. I hope that I see it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't got my tickets yet, and I probably should, because I think last time I checked, seats were getting kind of full. But yeah.
And Buster Barnes says Grace Randolph said that it'd be awful as Holt should turn up first in Superman. Guessing she doesn't know that Peacemaker season 2 is after Superman. She doesn't know shit. I just wanted to put that in there. She's the worst. Like the worst. I don't know how she got so big too. Like it just blew my mind how she, and she just looks so scary to me.
Look,
Sorry.
you could put you put enough shit out there, videos and tweets, and eventually people will actually like start seeing it. And if you talk to the right people, share it with the right people, tag the right people, get the right people on your show to talk to. Like that's how you get legitimized.
Ugh, just I'm sure there's better journalists out there.
I mean, sure. I wouldn't call us journalists, but I think we're definitely better than her.
Oh yeah. So final thing here, Joe. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, Lanterns, and Sergeant Rock are all listed as being in production according to Production Weekly. Which again, just give me all the DCU content. I want more of it to get filmed before we get Superman in the big screen, just because of the idiots that are running the show.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. Look what we got with Batgirl.
I know, but yeah, that's true too. But if the other 4 films were done in the can and VFX, like when they decided to go with Gunn, like those were all locked and loaded. They just switched around some in credit scenes, but the filming for all those films were done when Gunn came in.
Sure.
So you couldn't like get rid of all 4 of those. So they just like said we're done after this. But I'm
sure they would if they actually wanted to.
I just don't think that money wise they could have.
Exactly. That's the thing. Big name actors. Too many big name actors.
That's what I'm here about the DCU is once you have some of these properties filmed and ready to be put out, even if Superman did bad, WBD's in such a bad financial place, they can't afford to take as many hits. They can't afford to write stuff off as a lot to get tax breaks for the following year. That's a long time to wait to get paid off for that. So
yeah,
and you have like stockholders to answer to. It's just I want to know before we go to watch Superman 2025. I want Supergirl and Lanterns to be finished production and in finished general production and in post production.
Okay.
That's what I'm hoping for. So at the very least, we have something coming down the pipe that you have to put out. That's
fingers crossed. And Buster Barnes says Millie Alcock as Supergirl is such a good casting, going to be so good. I know people are raving about her on House of the Dragon. I have not seen House of the Dragon. I'll probably watch it when it's done and like actually finally finished with season 4 or whatever. But I've heard nothing but good things about her.
She was signing merch for Supergirl merch for people last week. So I mean, like, I'll be in like that. So can't wait. Very excited. Our final thing for the night, Joe, is our Smallville retro recaps. We're on season 5, episode 8, Solitude, and boy, oh boy, yet another episode that I've really enjoyed. I
Yeah.
love this episode. I love Fine. I love the actor. I'm
James
forgetting his
Masters.
name, James Masters, who shout out Piccolo, who
Shout out
plays
Spike.
Brainiac.
Come on.
I know. He fat to have made him green. Like he had to fight so hard to get Piccolo
I
to be
know.
green in the movie. So the only movie I left. Yeah. So I love him as Brainiac. He was on Tocqueville.
Oh, nice.
And he had a lot of stories, and he said he's going to come back when his character returns again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love this episode, Joe. What do you remember about watching this back when it came out?
I remember.
Did you know he was Brainiac before we got this reveal?
Yeah, I think so, because if I remember correctly, I was getting the Wizard magazines, or like getting them from the library, reading them basically, and that was revealed in there that he was going to be coming on as Brainiac in Smallville. So I knew that. And then obviously building up to it, especially this episode, like I remembered him being killed, air quotes killed, but that's it. Like there really wasn't anything else from this episode that I really remembered. But I liked it. It was a really good episode.
Shout out kryptonitesite.com, because that's what I used for Smallville rumors back in the day. And I knew as well. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, that's who he is. And the way they did him here too is great. And I love how all the events of the prior episode have all, like, Brainiac's done it all to ingratiate himself with Clark to get him to do what he wants to do in this episode. And I just love the payoffs here. I love the 2 episode storytelling. And more than that, really, because he's been around for a few more episodes as history teacher. But I do remember this at the time and just like loving these episodes as they were coming out, and no idea that we were barreling towards one of the sadder episodes.
I mean, it definitely, like, looking back on it now, watching it now, I have a different appreciation for this episode, especially since, I've lost both my parents in the last, decade. So like seeing this definitely kind of got like kind of sad, but yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Buster Barnes. Hope
Thanks,
to
Buster.
see you again.
Yes, we're here every Friday.
Every Friday.
Almost every Friday. Got to put that in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that, I enjoyed the episode. I'm looking forward to, like you just said, that we're barreling towards a sad episode. I remember that episode specifically. Episode 12. So we are almost there, and I'm looking forward to that.
And even in this, like, there is a little thing there about they're not sure. Jor-El mentions, like, when he's talking to Clark, that like someone has to pay for this. He's speaking about something else entirely. He's speaking about the powers in the previous, like, down the line. So, like, that's the payoff. And we don't know that as the audience. We think he's speaking about Brainiac. I love that stuff. This is great. It was really good episode, and the battle at the Fortress of Solitude.
It was really cool.
Yeah,
did a really good job.
Nice job there. And again, shout out to James Masters, who played Brainiac. Fine. He is a great actor. I thought he was fantastic. Like you said, he is great in Spike. He is Spike. But any role he's in.
He was in I think it was in a season of Torchwood for a couple episodes.
He's just great.
He's like I said, great actor.
Very solid actor. Just saying things like Damien Dark actor. I'm Neil.
Neil McDonald. No, Neil McDonough.
Yeah,
love him.
He's great in everything. Like, he was a Justified, absolute, like, off the hinge guy, and I loved him.
First thing I saw him in was Star Trek First Contact, I think.
Walking Tall for me. He was the villain of the Rock's movie, with the Rock going around with a piece of 2x4.
Yeah.
Back when everyone loved him, right, Clay?
I mean, you're not wrong. I used to like him too back in the day.
Right, yeah. So, Joe, there wasn't much else. Zod is gone. The ship disappears. And one thing I want to talk about before we end it.
For now.
I loved the end scene with Lionel and Lex, where Lex goes and grabs his face. Like, in the Tocqueville thing, Rosenbaum said that wasn't in the script. He did that, and he said he could see John Glover's reaction, getting really, like, giddy and excited, like that he went off script and went with this choice. And he's like, I can see him being like, "Oh, we're going this way." So
But this is
Just-
also like 5 years. These guys are close. Like everybody on the set, the crew, like they're friends. So that happening, that because of their relationship having been this far in 5 years, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
And
awesome.
it's just run along smooth. This is arguably the best season of the
So
show.
far, yes.
So
We've had a few hiccups, but
Yeah.
yes, so far this has been.
I can't wait.
Good.
We're barely down towards just a few more episodes to the 100th episode of this. We've been talking about 100 episodes. Wow. So
Yeah, dude.
okay.
I mean, I've been talking. I came on back in like season 2, but still.
Season 2 still it's like
Well, I guess it was like halfway through season 1. Whatever.
halfway through season 1. It was, Joe. To be honest with you, it was.
Yeah.
So listeners, that wraps up the episode for us. We'll be back next week with more DC goodness. Until then, see you, everyone.
Bye, y'all.